I was very, very excited to play this one again,
You were,
and
yeah, you were
it's
you were
just
cock a hoop for this game.
I
Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of Pod'em Up. My name is Ollie, and I'm joined as always by my friend Tibbs. Hello, Tibbs.
Hello.
How you doing, mate?
I'm not too bad.
Yeah, good.
That's a pretty good intro. We were talking about this a second ago, and you decided to write it down this time.
I did, yes. Regular listeners will know that we're terrible at intros. So this time I've decided to write it down so that there's no fluffing around, there's no getting confused with who says whose name or whatever. But clearly we haven't rehearsed this bit. So, because
No.
yeah.
I
Anyway,
was going to go. I had the same idea.
yeah.
But I was going to go really crazy with it. I was going to say like broadcasting live and pre-recorded from the Pod'em Up suborbital broadcast platform. It's Tibbs and Ollie. And then
That would have worked too. You could try that
really
next.
mad with it. But I
Try that
quite like
next month.
yours.
Yeah.
Yours is quite. You keep it simple, and
Well,
that's good.
we're simple people with a simple
We are.
podcast, so it suits it.
We are. We've got a lot to cover
We
this
do
episode, I
actually.
think. There's
Yeah,
been, as our book club game, I think is going to be. I'm certainly excited to talk
you
about that
are.
one.
Yeah, definitely. I am too.
And there's been a whole ton of news.
Mm.
Some sort of surprise announcements. There's been some controversial stuff with Nintendo and ROMs, and
Yeah,
there's been all kinds of stuff since the last show. So
there
I don't
has.
know where do you want to start? Should we? I mean,
Well, I was thinking we start with the fourth installment of a much loved franchise that's been announced this week. Was it?
yeah,
That we're both very excited about, and that's Streets of Rage 4.
amazing.
That is, yeah. I was
I just
totally
didn't.
no. I mean, I saw your tweet like first thing in the morning about it, and I was like, "Hang on, what? Streets of Rage 4? What's he talking about?" So I just went off and found the trailer, and yeah,
I love that trailer.
it's a really good trailer, isn't it? Yeah.
I've watched it so many times. It's so exciting to. I mean, yeah, I mean, Streets of Rage. It's a series. I think we recorded before episode 1 of the Pod'em Up.
Yeah,
We did, I suppose, the lost episode. Now we did like a test episode,
yeah.
episode 0, I suppose we call it now.
Mhm.
And I think we went through sort of games that we thought were very special to us or influential to us in some way. And I'm sure we both added Streets of Rage, didn't we? Or we
I think
mentioned
we
one of us
did.
mentioned Streets of Rage.
Yeah, one of them at least. Yeah, I think we did two. We both
Yeah,
chose two as our like sort of favourites, didn't we?
yeah.
It's such a well loved franchise, and it's something that Sega's been ignoring for what did you say, 24 years? Was it since
24
three?
years. That's
Yeah,
mental.
it's crazy, isn't it? But yeah, it's looking great. It just goes to show that I think they're sort of starting to realise the potential in not just re-releasing the exact same games over and over umpteen times on loads of different
hmm
devices, but actually making new installments of
I
those
was
classic games, and
I
not.
was going to ask you, do you
Yeah,
think this is Sonic Mania's influence
I
in?
think it almost certainly is. I would be amazed if it wasn't, because that game was a runaway success, and
Yeah.
Sega themselves probably weren't expecting it. I think they probably took a punt on it, but and now they've seen that there is a huge market for nostalgia for their product at the moment. So they've got so many IPs that they could do, and this is one of the on the top of the list, I think, for revivals. So yeah, yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, brilliant news.
It's amazing.
Mm.
Um, what are your thoughts on the trailer? I mean, it doesn't really give much away, but
But I think it gives you enough glimpse of the gameplay to really get excited about. There's enough sort of there's plenty of sort of returning characters in terms of the enemies and stuff you can recognise. You know, all the different punks and the fat guy and stuff. You know that kind of thing. And
do you think it is going to just stick with Axel and Blaze, or do you think they're going to sort of limit it down to those two characters?
I don't think so. I think that's just to start with. I think they'll introduce, you know, either some of the old favourites or maybe some new characters to play as well.
Yeah,
or maybe just chuck a whole load in there. Hopefully, I mean that would be really cool. Yeah, rather than just limited to 4 or 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I like the art style to it as well.
I do as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, you could say that they should have done, you know, pixel art, but I don't think they should, because it kind of worked for Sonic Mania because we had so many other Sonic games that weren't in that style. Mm-hmm. Whereas for Streets of Rage, if they do a 4th one, it would kind of look it would look a bit too similar to the last ones. You need something to make it a bit more, you know, exciting and bring it up to date a little bit, I would say.
Absolutely, yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been saying, a lot of the reaction on Twitter, there did seem to be a little bit of pushback of people saying, you know, oh, give me the pixel art style, or I'm not interested, or, you know.
Yeah, but I think that's quite, you know, it's at the end of the day, you're getting a new Streets of Rage game.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
I mean...
and it looks, I mean... The art style is different, but it you know, admittedly they only show a few glimpses of the actual gameplay. There's only a couple of scenes in that trailer where you actually see some actual gameplay going on. But it's got that atmosphere, it's got that ambience of a Streets of Rage game, and I think, you know, the art style I thought was really, I loved it. I loved everything about it.
Yeah. The animation in the sort of cutscenes in it were really good as well.
Yeah, everything. I you know, I love Axel's old man beard as well.
Yeah, it looks really cool, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. He's just looks really haggard and
yeah, as he would after 24 years, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Oddly enough, Sega haven't really said anything about it at all, have they?
No, I don't. I mean, I haven't been following it loads, but the only thing I've seen is that trailer, and I haven't looked into too many people's opinions about it or anything. But yeah, the Sega themselves, I don't think have made a.
I don't think they've made any reference to it at all.
Who did announce it? Was it the developers themselves?
The developer .mu.
Yeah, and it is backed by Sega because they did. Sorry, they did what? Sorry.
Wonder Boy.
Oh yes, yeah.
And the Dragon's Trap on basically all systems, I think.
Yeah, I want to get round to that. I never got.
It's brilliant. It's really good.
I haven't played the original, but I know it's supposed to be quite a good game, so I'm going to play either the original or that, definitely.
It's a really good game. It's partly why I'm so excited about it, because whenever you get a new a classic franchise that's taken on by a new developer, there's always that sort of apprehension about how much of their own stamp they're going to put on it, and whether they can really keep the feel of the original, you know.
Yeah.
But with their Wonder Boy port, they just gave it this absolutely gorgeous sort of cartoon graphic style, but the original game is literally running at the same time underneath, and you can switch between the original game and the new graphic style at any time.
That's really cool, yeah.
Yeah, it works so well. It's a real achievement they did with Wonder Boy. So if they can bring that same kind of attention and love to Streets of Rage, then, you know, I've got no concerns about it being in there.
I'm sure they will. It already looks fantastic from the little you see of it. So yeah, does it have a release date scheduled?
We don't know anything about it at all. There's been nothing other than a trailer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as we said, I think we discussed privately. I think when it comes close to the time, we'll do the 3 games as like a sort of a bumper episode, I guess.
Yeah, I think we definitely
we'll sort of go through them, and then after that we'll do Streets of Rage 4 as a book club pick, I think.
Yeah. I would be really interested to know. I don't know if it's the sort of thing we'll find out, or, you know, but do you remember Bomber Games, the guy who did the Streets of Rage remake?
Oh yeah.
And he built that engine from scratch, basically, and got this sort of pitch perfect, you know, sort of love letter, I suppose, to the Streets of Rage series. It's
Mm.
like the best of all the games combined into one big one, and it had all the extra characters, all these extra modes, and like a level editor, and all this cool stuff. And he was forced to close it down, by
Yeah,
Sega through sort of
yeah.
copyright
It's
stuff.
the only example I know of Sega actually closing down a fan project like that that I'm
Yeah, I
aware
would
of.
be
Yeah.
really curious to know whether he was involved with it at all. Because
Mm.
if
You never know.
kind of like the Sonic Mania situation, with
Yeah.
Christian Whitehead and his work on recreating the Sonic engine, obviously turned some heads at Sega. I'm wondering if the same kind of thing might have played out behind the scenes when this came around.
Maybe,
Like,
but there's a huge gap of time between the two. That's the difference, I would say.
yeah, there
So,
is.
I mean,
Yeah,
they've already shut him down. That was years and years ago, wasn't it?
yeah, it was. Yeah.
So, yeah, it may be. Mm. The only thing I want to add about that is I think the music is going to be key to that game
Yes.
because for 1 and 2 that's some of the best game music of all time, I think.
Yeah.
And it's gonna. I mean, if it weren't on par with that, I mean, it's still going to be a good game. But if it is, it's just going to make a world of difference.
Well, I think Yuzo Koshiro has said he sort of made a cryptic reference on Twitter when he
Oh,
was
really?
asked. Yeah, he was asked straight out if he was involved in it,
Yeah.
and it was kind of I can't. I'd have to find the actual tweet, but it was kind of a can't say whether I am or
Okay.
not kind of thing, which
Yeah.
usually when people say that it
Yeah.
means they are,
Yeah.
you know. So I don't know whether he's going to be, what extent his involvement will be, but I've got
Mm.
a feeling he's gonna have a hand in it, which is great news.
Yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed, and hopefully he doesn't do another Streets of Rage 3.
No, no, that's not one of my favorite soundtracks, I
No.
have to say.
No.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see more of it. It's a really pleasant surprise.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I didn't see that one coming at all.
No.
If you'd have asked me to predict what games we'd get in 2018, it wouldn't even have entered my head to think we're getting a new Streets of Rage. So
No.
really
Great.
pleased with that.
Yeah. Cool.
What else has been going on that we need to talk about?
Well, I don't know about you, but I've been downloading ROMs like no one's been. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure whatever happens, you'll still be able to get certain games from certain places. It might be a little bit harder, but I don't know. I mean, I must say it's mainly the games that aren't available in any other format, and you have to like pay through the nose to get them. I'm talking like sort of expensive GameCube games and stuff like that.
Well, some of the games we've covered on this show
Exactly.
already,
Yeah.
people would never get the chance to play.
Yeah, look at the Firemen. That was what, £300
Firemen.
or something, was it?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not been re-released anywhere else.
Nope.
Yeah, the only way is a ROM, unless
Yeah.
you've got loads of money. So, and I know they didn't take down Emu Paradise; they took themselves down. But it was such a shame because that was such a great site.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still a cause and effect there. They may not have issued a lawsuit
No, but
to them, but it was clear what prompted the shutdown.
yes, yeah,
And it's really sad because MU Paradise has been on the scene for over a decade.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long it's been around, but it's been around a long time.
It's been my go-to place, certainly.
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, you can say what you want about ROMs and piracy and copyright infringement and things like that, but MU Paradise, you really never got the feeling that the intention there was to be taking money out of anyone's pocket.
No.
The intention
No.
really was as an archive and a repository for all kinds of video game stuff, because it just wasn't ROMs there. There was documentaries and magazine scans and
Yeah.
adverts and all kinds of video game ephemera that it was being preserved. It was online for people to access. It's important stuff.
Yeah,
And,
I mean,
it wasn't just a hub for people to go and download stuff.
No, I think they want to continue in some way. So hopefully they'll sort through their content. I mean, I understand that they've taken everything down for the time being. Maybe they'll sort through their content and realize what's going to cause anyone trouble and what isn't, and then maybe put some of that stuff back. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But I mean,
it's a
the
shame.
ISO zone has gone now as well.
Yeah, that's another one.
Then the subject of the lawsuit, I think it was Love ROMs or Love Retro. I'd
Yeah,
never heard of those, to be honest.
I
So
think
they
I've heard of
weren't.
Love ROMs, but it wasn't
No,
one
I'd
I
not.
frequented. Um,
I don't, has Cool ROMs gone as well, or are they still
I have a
going?
feeling Cool ROMs was the other one, wasn't it? Or was that?
I
Am
think
I
it might
making
have
that up?
been. I don't know, but a lot of big names have shut up
Yeah,
shop.
yeah.
And I think it's just really short-sighted on the side of Nintendo.
Well, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to blame them for wanting to protect their. If they've got a game out for sale and they have reason to think that people aren't buying it because they can download it for free, I think everyone understands that. But I think in a lot of cases, people just want this stuff to preserve it. They have no. I mean, well, the other side of it is how many times have Nintendo charged you for Mario World? You know,
Yeah,
and it's on the Wii Virtual Console's on the Wii U, possibly the 3DS as well. And you buy one of those, you don't get access to the other ones. You have to buy them again.
yeah,
So
exactly. I mean, you looking at they can tie it up however they want, calling it Virtual Console, but it's an emulator and a ROM is what you're
yeah,
buying.
yeah,
There's no technical reason at all why you can't carry over the Virtual Console games
no,
you bought on Wii to Wii U
yeah,
to your 3DS. They could have it so you can build up this library of Virtual Console
yeah,
titles and have it across the whole Nintendo ecosystem.
exactly.
Why
Every
do,
every new
why not
system, they
do
can
that?
just they can have one system and bring it all over. You don't have to buy your ROMs again. Um, and there's no problem. I don't think anyone will have a problem with that, as long as
No,
if they know that that stuff is safe and it will carry on from console to console, and they'll always be able to access it. That's the thing. If you want to stop, you'll never be able to stop piracy. Really,
no.
they'll always find a way. So the only way to stop it is to provide a service that people are happy to use,
Well,
and that people don't mind
exactly.
paying for, because people
Well,
don't mind paying for these games. They love them.
I
You
was going to
just
say, and the fight with the music industry had with Napster all those years ago,
yeah,
it was the same arguments then. And eventually, the music industry came around to you can buy DRM free MP3 files.
mm,
Even iTunes is DRM free
yeah,
now. There's Spotify, there's Amazon MP3 music,
exactly.
Amazon
There's so many
Amazon
options.
Prime Music.
I
There's
mean,
so many options, and people are paying for them. If you give
exactly.
people the option, they will pay.
Exactly, of course, because it's a they want to support the artists, and b it's easier,
Mm,
you know, and you don't have to go on dodgy websites where you might get viruses and stuff.
yeah.
It's
I think it's really a consumer hostile move from Nintendo. I
yeah.
really,
Well, they make many consumer hostile moves, really,
they do,
with shutting
unfortunately.
down fan games and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean. They're still going to be popular because they're still good at what they do and people love them, but they don't do themselves any favors by doing stuff like that, do they?
they just don't get it.
No,
They just don't get it.
yeah, they struggle
Eh,
to keep up with things like that, and they're very stuck in their ways about protecting their content.
and I think they overvalue the the they overestimate the value of their back catalogue sometimes
Yeah,
because when they announced initially the plans for the Nintendo Switch Online service,
mm,
one of their big selling points was the fact that it would include 10 NES games.
yeah,
And that it seemed like they really expected people to be really excited about that. That you're going to be able to play Super Mario Brothers 3 again. And it's like,
wasn't it?
it's a
Was
good game. I'm not
yeah,
saying it's not, but really?
yeah, wasn't it at one point? I don't know if it's still. I think it's changed, but they said every month you get access to one NES game
Yeah,
just for that month, and then
just for that month.
then after that it's a different NES game. Was that right? Don't I remember
That
that?
was right, yeah. They've changed that now, but
Yeah,
I don't think there's been much confirmed about what they've changed it to.
no,
But yeah, that was the initial thing, and they were that was their answer to like the PSN Plus games and the Xbox Live
yeah,
Gold games. Where you get
it's
these AAA games, mostly AAA games.
yeah,
Big titles to download for free with your subscription every month. Their answer to that was you get one NES or SNES game a month, and then it goes
and then
away.
it goes away, and that's just
You know, it's
it's
just it's
insulting, really, isn't it? That
it's just not going to cut it. And I really think they've got this inflated idea of what value these games have to people.
yeah, they do.
But
Mm.
that's
There's nothing you can do about it, unfortunately.
No, no, it's how it is with Nintendo, I'm afraid. But
Yeah,
I love Nintendo.
yeah.
Nintendo games are, some of my favorite games of all time are Nintendo games. So it's
Mm,
just a shame to see them acting in this way towards their consumers, really. But
yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, well, let's move on.
let's move on.
Was there anything else you wanted to discuss?
News-wise, I don't know. I think that was the two
Yeah.
big pressing issues, the
Hmm.
two big news, events of the month. Um, have you been playing anything interesting? Because we usually have a quick chat about what we've been playing.
Well,
So,
I have been playing nothing else other than our book club pick because it was quite long for a father's time amount of free time. I'm afraid.
yes, yes, I think I might have underestimated how long the game was.
A
I
little
think I
bit,
said that
but
about sort of 6 or 7 hours, but
it was a little bit longer than that. But that's
a little
fine.
bit longer
You
than
know,
that.
I had fun with it, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But
Have you heard of Donut County?
Donuts County?
Donut County.
No, I haven't. No.
That is the game I've been playing quite a bit of. It only came out a few days ago,
Okay.
and it's a quirky little game where. Have you played Katamari Damacy?
Yeah, I played the 360 version, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of an inverse of that, where
Okay.
you control a hole on the ground
Mm.
and you have to move it around and drop things into the hole. And every time you drop something into the hole gets a little bit bigger.
Okay.
And you have to clear the stage of all the objects and people and animals
Mm.
in it by sort of manipulating this hole around to pick things up. And there's all sorts of little puzzles and stuff that go around it. There'll be if you swallow a lump of coal into the hole, it will light on fire and fire will shoot out of the hole, and then you can set fire to trees and make things fall off. And there's all these little interactive
Okay.
little sort of twists to it.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a really fun little entertaining game. I picked it up on PSN. It was only £10, I think. So it's
Mm.
not it's quite short. You can breeze through the whole game in about 2 hours.
Mm.
But if anyone is looking for just a really sort of funny, quirky, sort of short game to get involved in, I'd recommend checking it out. It's got a
Okay.
really nice soundtrack as well. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's
All right. No, I haven't heard of that. What sort of art style is it? Is it pixel art? Is it sort of drawn, or is it?
no, it's kind of like cell shaded, little. It's 3D,
Mm.
cell shaded 3D models.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very. It's got a very individual art style. I can't think
Mm.
of another game that looks quite like it off the top of my head. So, um, best thing to do is watch a quick gameplay trailer of the game, or watch someone play through the first level and stuff, and you'll get a feel for what it's like. But
Mm.
yeah, guess my recommendation for the month. Besides that, I'm pretty much like you. I've been playing through our book club game again,
Yeah.
so um,
Mhm.
haven't played a lot outside of that. Besides, like I say, Donut County.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. It's been a busy month.
yeah.
I did have a few pickups that
Oh, cool.
yeah, I put a tweet out. I've made my purchase of a Super Nintendo this month.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
went to Play Expo in London, which is pretty cool. It's got stalls and stuff to buy with retro games and stuff. It's also got loads of arcade machines set up and consoles and things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw some videos on of YouTube of people that went there. I didn't even know it was going on. They look pretty fun though. It looked like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good
it was
time.
all right. I don't know if I'd go again, but it was pretty good. Yeah, it's yeah. So I bought it from a stall that I sort of know of. I've been before. I've only been to one of these other types of things. That was the London Gaming Market, and I bought from this guy as well before. I follow him on Twitter. It's called the Retro Hunter. And he tends to
Oh,
have the best prices of any of these people there, because you go to these stores and they're often quite expensive. A lot of the stuff there.
I'm gonna say I did notice on like some of the YouTube videos, people would be doing like walk rounds and showed like
Mm.
some of the stores and stuff, and some of the prices there were a little bit eye-watering.
Yeah, I think I mean, you can haggle and stuff, but I mean, they take advantage of the of your sort of impulse buys, I think. But this was a good SNES in good condition for a reasonable price. So and I was kind of, I didn't have much on my list to buy other than that, because I knew I wanted to sort of add one to my collection because I felt like it needed it. And I sort of know this guy from Twitter, so he's a worthwhile, he's a trustworthy source. I'm sure it worked and everything. So I went for that, and I got from another stall, I got Super Mario World and Starwing for 15 quid for the pair.
Oh, that's good.
Which is, I thought was pretty good. And yeah, that all works and everything, and it's pretty good. My intention is to get an EverDrive for it.
I'd go for the SD to SNES rather than the EverDrive. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's. I think that's the one I looked at. Yeah. That's a bit more compatible, isn't it? Because I know not all games work on it.
It's a bit more compatible, but it's just been they've done a firmware update's been released recently to add Super FX support for it. So Starwing, Star Fox 2, a bunch of Super FX games now work on it, which it never did before.
Oh, that's really cool.
There's only I think the only sort of big title that you'd probably want to play that isn't supported on it now is Super Mario RPG, but pretty much everything else will run on it fine now. So
yeah, cool. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. I'd like to get it region modded as well. I don't know if you're up for the task of.
I've never done a Super Nintendo, so okay. I want to experiment on one of mine first, rather than break yours.
Fair enough.
But I could. Well, if I give it a shot.
Well, there's no hurry. I'm happy to pay whatever for your time and for your whatever bits you need to buy for it and everything, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no rush on that. Whatever further down the line. But yeah, no, I'm really excited about that. It's a good thing to add to my collection. It looks, I like the look of the Super Nintendo. It's quite a nice thing to have on the shelf.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I much prefer the styling of the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom than the US release.
Oh, me too. I think, no offense, American guys, but I don't like your SNES at all.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what the thinking behind that was when they redesigned that. It's a really elegant bit of kit, so I don't know why they felt the need to sort of change that.
I know. I wasn't really aware until relatively recently that the American one was looked any different. It was only a few years ago, I think, that I saw it and I think, hang on, that's the American Super Nintendo?
I know.
Wow.
And they got concave buttons on the control pad as well, which is
that's weird.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Also, after our last episode, I picked up Klonoa 2 as well.
Oh yes, I did see you tweet that. Brilliant. Yeah. Have you had a chance to play it yet?
I haven't yet. No, I still haven't set up most of my consoles actually. But I will give that a try. And Hyrule Warriors on Wii U for £8 from CEX, which I thought was pretty good.
Oh, okay.
The Wii U games are quite cheap at the moment. I don't know if you've noticed. I think if you're into sort of boosting up your Wii U collection, now's the time. Because
it's a very good time, yeah.
I don't think they're going to stay that low for long, personally. I reckon they're going to creep up.
No, again. I think Wii U and PS1 games I picked up a whole bunch of PS1 games in the past couple of months, just random bits and pieces. I don't want to sort of list them because they're ones I might want to cover on future shows.
Okay.
But yeah, some of them I picked up for just £2 or £3. So yeah, there's some. Yeah, it's a good time to be collecting for Wii U and the original PlayStation, I think, at the moment.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Not that I can think of. Like I say, I haven't really played that much this month, besides our book club game. So I suppose we should probably dive into that because it's quite a chunky game. There's probably a lot to unpack there. So
okay.
Why don't we take a quick break and we'll come back and talk about our game of the month, which is Ghost Trick Phantom Detective.
Excellent.
So we will be back in a bit.
Okay.
Okay, we're back. Part 2 of the show. And we're going to be talking about our game of the month, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective for Nintendo DS. I was very, very excited to play this one again.
You were, yeah, you were cock a hoop for this game.
I was cock a hoop. Yes, I was indeed.
Yeah.
I was all of a quiver. So yeah, basically, it is one of my favorite games of all time, and it was just I think I said on the last show when we were discussing the choice, it's one of those games that I pester people to play, and no one ever does. So I felt it was really good to get a captive audience and force someone to play this game that I love so much.
Well, yeah, you forced me to play it, and I must say I wasn't disappointed. I thought it was a very, very good game, and we'll go on to explain why in a minute.
Okay.
But it's it's just. I mean, do you want to start with sort of where you started with the game, as in where you first played it, what got you into it, what your experience with it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I can't remember where, like, how I came across the game. I think it was mainly because I'm quite a fan of the Phoenix Wright series. The guy who wrote Ghost Trick. I'm gonna get his name up just so I don't massacre the pronunciation, because I'm no good with Japanese pronunciations. But he wrote. He's the main mastermind behind Phoenix Wright. Shu Takumi. I'm sure that's not pronounced correctly, but Shu Takumi is the guy. And I really fell in love with the Phoenix Wright games, and I think I was just looking to see what other games he'd done, and other projects he'd been involved with. And Ghost Trick, is probably the next best thing he's famous for after the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney games.
So this was after it was released, was it?
Oh yeah. It was a while. Yeah, it was probably about a year after it was released. I think it was. It wasn't. I didn't have my finger on the pulse with it. It went under my radar for quite.
I think I was reading up on it a bit, and it seemed to go under a lot of people's radar because it was released at the very end of the DS's life cycle. I think just a couple of months before the 3DS.
It was.
It's in 2011, January 2011 for us, and June 2010 for Japan.
Yeah, it did get a release on the iTunes store as well. It did get an iOS release.
Yes, an iOS release as well, yeah.
I think it was slightly enhanced as well in some way. I think that the iOS version was slightly enhanced, but they sold it in chapters, I believe. So you got the first chapter for free, and then you had to buy the extra ones as in-app purchases. And I don't know if that might have put a lot of people off, not getting the whole game or not seeing the game through after the first couple of chapters. But
yeah, possibly. At least it gives you a chance to play it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of in-app purchases, but.
No, I'm not. No, but so basically, I gave the game a go, and to describe it, if you're not familiar with the game, or you're wondering what we're talking about, I guess it's an adventure puzzle game. I've heard we got some comments on Twitter about the game, and I heard someone describe it as a visual novel. I guess it does have visual novel elements in it. I don't know if I would consider it a visual novel strictly myself, but it's kind of like an adventure mystery game where you play someone who is trying to solve the mystery of their own murder. They've awoken as a spirit, and they see a corpse lying on the floor, and they want to solve the mystery of how that corpse turned into them, how they died. And you go through the game. Obviously, as a spirit, you can't directly interact with people, so you kind of have to move objects and manipulate things around the screen in order to try and make things happen. Kind of like Rube. Are you familiar with Rube Goldberg machines, where you see them online, where people make them? You'll roll a marble and it'll knock into something and knock into something, and you set off these chain reactions.
That's right. There's a lot of this in this game. I mean,
Absolutely. So you've got to try and manipulate the environment in that kind of Rube Goldberg style in order to affect things,
Yeah.
and
It's
save lives, I
yes,
suppose.
that's right. It's sort of it takes a side view, a sideways view of everything, doesn't it? So
Mm.
and you can jump between certain objects, can't you?
Yes.
I'm not, because some objects you can jump to and some objects you can't. I'm not sure if it's ever really explained why some objects have cores and why some don't. Do you know what I mean?
No,
It's
they do a little bit of hand waving by saying that the powers change over time, and so you can use that to explain why there's things that you would think you should logically be able to jump to, but you just can't.
yeah.
And I suppose you can use that to explain
And
that kind of thing
you have a
away.
limited distance to what you can jump to, which is the sort of
Yeah.
mechanic of the game. So you have to work your way. Sometimes you'll have to you'll jump to an object and say it's a book. You have to, or a door. You have to open the door, because each object has an action you can perform on it, or most of them.
Yeah.
Some of them do anyway. They don't all. And say it's a door, you can open it, and then that will move your position because you're in a new place where the door is, and then you can jump to new things from over there. So it's stuff like that, isn't it? It's sort of
Yeah. Yeah. Or
manipulating the objects
sometimes
to move around.
you might have to knock a ball in front of the door, open the door so the ball goes flying, and then quickly jump to the ball so you get,
That's right.
you can then use the ball to transfer yourself to the other side of the stage. And it's about learning to manipulate the environment in that kind of way.
It is, yeah. And
But oh no, carry on.
well, I was just going to say the big thing about the game is that the character
Sissel.
Cecil, yeah.
I always pronounce it Sissel.
I do
but
as well, yeah. He has the ability to rewind time back 4 minutes from a person's death, from any person's death. I think
Yeah.
he can sort of inhabit them and sort of talk to them in some cases, can't he?
Yes.
And then he can rewind back 4 minutes from the person's death, and he can manipulate objects to change the course of events and save the person from dying, and then therefore change the future. And that's what a lot of the gameplay entails. But it's got this sort of 4 minute countdown thing, really, isn't it? So you've kind of got this constant ticking clock where you've got to manipulate these things, and if you don't do it in time, you can always go back though. And the game's quite good at saying, okay, never mind, but we've learned this, this, and this. Let's go back and try again.
Yeah, it doesn't punish you for failing, really, does
No,
it?
it
It
doesn't.
encourages you to learn the various sort of the subtleties of each stage that are going on,
Yes.
but through repetition.
It's very much about trial and error,
Yeah.
which could be frustrating a little bit at times, but you kind
Yes.
of see the point of what the game is trying to get across to you. It's kind of about sort of taking it slow, and just sort of thinking about it. And sometimes you've got to do these things with specific timing in mind. So sometimes you'll only be able to save the person's fate at a very specific moment, and sometimes it'll be, oh, it looks like we missed our chance, we might have to rewind time and try again. Yeah, you've got to kind of be very aware. First of all, you get to watch the whole scene play out, so you see exactly how they died, and you've got to kind of keep an eye out for things that you may be able to sort of manipulate at particular times.
Yeah. There was something I was going to say then, and it's so much I want to talk about with this game.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and I'm trying to, because again, it's one of those games where I think so much of the what makes it special and so much of the enjoyment that you'll get from it is experiencing it for yourself. And I don't want
Yes.
to, I don't want to say anything that's going to take that away from people. There's so much sort of discovery in that game that the joy of discovering things, and when you figure out what the game wants you to do, and
Yeah. Yeah.
there's so much that I really think is best experienced firsthand. So I'm trying to really,
Absolutely.
yeah, really treading on eggshells with what I'm saying and what I want to express with it, really.
I
But
think you're right. I think there's so much in the game, and there's so many different puzzles and stuff. I wouldn't want to describe any particular puzzle in great detail because there really is a nice satisfaction in sort of working it out yourself, and that
I
sort of eureka moment where you realise, that object needs to fall down first, and then I can move this ball across it, and that kind of thing,
I
and then
will
you
say
see it
that
happen. Yeah.
there's some puzzles towards the end of the game
Mm.
that I found completely infuriating.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a particular puzzle involving steam,
Yeah.
which I hate that puzzle.
Yeah. I
It,
had to. I think I YouTube that one just because I was running out of time. But yeah, they do get a bit. Do get a bit tough towards the end.
yeah,
But yeah, I think in general it's sort of simple, but it works for the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. I mean, it does throw some new tactics your way towards, yeah, around
It does.
sort
Yeah.
of 2/3 of the way in. It does
Mm,
start mixing it up with some new tools you can have in your arsenal. But
mm.
for the most part, what you learn in the first few bits of the game is what you're going to be using for the majority of the game. You know, that the jumping between objects and using the actions on them is what you're going to be spending most of the game doing. So,
That's right. Yeah.
once you got to grips with the first bit of the game, you're on your way basically.
Yeah. That's right.
It's not too much there's not like 1,000 different rules. You have to remember how to do this and that and what you can do and what you can't do. It's really easy to just pick up and play.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the characters,
Oh man, I got to talk about the characters. I love the characters. They're so sort of zany and so
yeah,
funny and just really really well done.
yeah. I think that's really one of the strengths of his games because
Right.
it's what made me fall in love with Phoenix Wright as well. It's just,
Mm.
he's really really good at writing characters and making you care about the
He
characters.
does. Yeah, you care about pretty much every single character in this game.
Yeah.
I did anyway. And I haven't played the Phoenix Wright games, and I'd really like to. So maybe a future book club
Oh,
pick.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. But especially after playing this, I think I'm
Did
going
you
to
have a
enjoy them.
particular favorite character?
Yeah, Detective Cabanela
Really?
is my favorite. I just he's basically right. It's early on in the game, and these detectives are investigating. I think it's Sissel's murder. Actually, they found his body,
Yeah.
and it's quite serious. They're trying to figure out what he does. And this sort of detective, like the chief detective, I think he is, isn't he? He appears on the scene in a manner that no detective would ever. He's basically a very tall, very slender man who's dressed like he's going to a disco in a completely white outfit with a long white coat. I think he arrives on a bicycle. Does he leave or arrive on a bicycle?
Yes, yeah.
He gets down, and there's quite a long route down to the bottom of this sort of junkyard where the murders happen. He appears at the top, and he goes down these stairs in a manner that I was literally laughing out loud at. He basically dances his way down and does these ridiculously funny and Michael Jackson style
Yeah.
moves. And it's so funny
It's so surreal.
in the context of him being a detective.
I know, and like the country's top detective as
Yeah,
well.
and he's just ridiculously slick and suave, and he just calls everyone baby. He's so smooth. And
I was going to
he's
say,
just,
he arrives on this crime scene. There's a person dead, one person dead on the floor, another one crushed under like a boulder, like a
yeah,
wrecking
yeah,
ball.
yeah.
And his first lines of the game are the tension of a crime scene, nothing like it, baby. And it's like it's just so
I want to see a
weird.
game entirely about him because
I'd
he
love
is
it.
such a great character. He really is. But I mean, he's one of many great characters in this game, I think.
It's packed full of them. I mean, all the characters, they're all important. There aren't really any characters that
There are some that are less
they're
important,
nice.
but they all have a role to play.
They
And I
do.
do. This isn't one thing, but in the end credits, you get to see every one, but sort of between the scrolling credits,
Yeah.
sort of what they're doing. At
There's a
the
really
end,
nice callback to that first scene as well, isn't there? With him going down the stairs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's and what were some of your favorite characters?
Missile.
Yeah, you got to love Missile.
I
Missile
love
is a small dog who, when Sissel inhabits his soul, I don't know, I'm not really using the right terminology, but he can sort of go to the soul and talk to them, Even if it's a dog, the dog speaks in English, and the dog speaks exactly as you would expect a dog to
Yeah.
speak.
He's so adorable.
He's lovely. Yeah.
He's Shu Takumi's dog in real life as
Is
well.
he really? Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, is he called
Yeah,
Missile?
yeah, he's called Missile
oh,
in real
wow,
life.
yeah, that's great.
There's a picture of them of Shu Takumi taking him for a walk, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. I just love him.
Oh, he's brilliant. Yeah, he plays an important role in the game as well.
He does. He plays a really important role.
Mm.
Yeah, I think Missile's probably my favorite character. Cecil, I really like as well.
Cecil himself is very good character. I enjoy it because one of the sort of the other main characters is Lynn,
Lynn.
The girl who is on the crime scene when Cecil dies, and she's the first person he saves, and
she's a detective as well.
She's a detective as well, yeah. So she's his first sort of point of contact, really, apart from the tutorial Ray, the tutorial character who's a desk lamp. And their dialogue between them is really good, I thought. She herself is a great character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also like the prison guards.
I was going to say
funny.
that the prison guards. I thought you might like those.
Yeah, they just wind each other up really well. And there's at one point there's I don't want to spoil too much now, but there's an emergency in the prison. And one of them has this dance that he does in an emergency situation that's handed down from family member to family member.
His whole family have different dances that they use to cope with traumatic situations. And they've got a particular dance for getting rid of stomach aches.
Yes, that's right, they do, yeah. And it's things like that also demonstrate how amazing the animation is in this game.
Oh, the animation is phenomenal.
It's some of the best animation I've ever seen in a game. It really is so smooth. I mean, I don't know how it's done.
I think it, like we were talking about in Klonoa, I think it was all pre-rendered, and then sort of turned into sprites and dropped into the game. But it's so fluid and so it's just really so fluid. Well done.
Yeah, it's a joy just to watch. It's worth playing the game in itself just to check out this animation, really, because it's the characters move so fluidly.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, like you were saying, that the two prison guards, there's a little frame of animation where one of them just turns his chair around. He just rolls the chair around.
Yes.
But he's just so natural. Yeah. It's just so it's just so well done. It's really, really impressive. It's a real achievement.
Yeah.
What do you think of the music and the soundtrack? Because I know. You said in the Klonoa one, it's one thing you look for in a game is a really good sort of a catchy soundtrack.
Yeah, this has it. This definitely has a good soundtrack. Yeah, it's very, very catchy. Very you hear a lot of the same music throughout the game, but it never gets old. It's very very memorable. You know, really good soundtrack. It's one I'll be collecting certainly for my collection.
Definitely, it's one of those things. I think we're coming back to things that we've talked about before, but it uses the whole character theme. You know, where characters having their own themes.
Yeah, they do, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that games don't do as often as they used to, and I think it's really good that it was used to really great effect here.
It is. Yeah.
There'll be sort of a really tense scene, and then you'll hear Missile's theme sort of kick in, and it really lightens the mood for a second. And it really changes. It just changes the whole atmosphere of the scene that's going on. It's just used to really great effect.
Yeah, very good. I thought the plot in general, and I don't want to ruin it, but the plot is very well paced out throughout the game. I thought.
Yeah.
It's sort of, it's sort of a murder mystery, and you go on a lot of different sort of tangents and a lot of I wouldn't say they're red herrings as such, because it all sort of merges into the one sort of plot and one narrative, and everything you discover in the game is important, even if it isn't directly related to Cecil's death. It all kind of adds up into this really nicely done sort of complicated narrative. And I thought it gives you revelations sort of quite regularly to sort of, it really kind of drew me in. You sort of keep getting these pieces of information, you kind of match them up, and you get something that doesn't make sense, and it makes you want to sort of carry on and find out what that means.
There are lots of sort of twists and turns. It keeps you guessing, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. Yeah.
I've obviously played this before, so
Mm,
I knew what the ultimate twist was.
mm,
But when I first played it, it pulled the rug out from under me completely. I
yeah,
didn't see that coming a mile off. Was that the same with you, or
yeah.
did you have any
Oh no,
sort of
I
anticipation?
had no idea at all. I don't think it even really gives you any clues about it.
It it kind of does. Playing it, I
Yeah,
noticed
I was going to ask you
things.
this actually. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I did notice things playing it back that there are little hints, and lots of things tend to make start making sense once you know.
Mm,
Like there's things that because the idea of the one of the basis of the game's lore is that when a spirit awakens in the ghost world, they have amnesia.
mm,
They don't remember themselves straight away. They don't remember the fact that they're dead, and it
yes.
takes them a little while for them to become conscious and remember things again.
Yeah.
But throughout the game, there's things that Sissel can't remember that you would think he would remember.
Mm,
Like he can't remember what bullets are. He does.
yes.
He's got no idea what kidnapping means, and
Yeah.
there's
That's
lots of little things where he just seems really he's baffled by everyday sort of concepts we take for granted.
yeah.
And at the time, my first playthrough, I was like, oh, okay, that's the amnesia thing. But knowing what you know by the end of the game, it takes on like a completely different. You think, oh, well, that's why he doesn't understand what that is.
Yeah.
That's
That's really interesting. I want to say more about that, but I don't want to. I think we're pushing. I
I
wouldn't
know.
want to. Yeah, we might spoil something there if we carry on down that road. But yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, that makes sense. That absolutely makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah. Anyway.
yeah. Yeah, there's a few things. If we talk about this in private, there's a few
Yeah.
other instances like that. That there's sort of eureka moments where you look at it back and you think, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that,
No, we'll discuss it a bit after the podcast.
yeah.
So. Sorry, guys.
I know, I know. Yeah, I want to talk about it, but it's like I was gonna say we. I don't want to. I was contemplating asking if we wanted to do like a spoiler section and
Yeah.
just do it, but then
Yeah.
I thought, I know what podcasts are like. I know people they might get bored with a little bit and skip it through,
Yeah.
or they
That's
might
right. You
fall
don't.
asleep listening to it and wake
Yeah.
up on the next bit,
Yeah.
and they might inadvertently hear a
Yeah.
spoiler
Good
bit that
point.
they didn't want to hear. So my instinct is to hold back from spoilers completely, but
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about
No,
that.
I think you're right. I think you make a good point there. You can say, okay, we'll discuss it, and then if you don't want to know the spoilers, turn off now. But I mean, as you say, you can easily slip into that. With just one
Yeah,
slip of your phone device on your thumb, you're ending up hearing something you don't want to hear. So yeah,
yeah.
let's not
Let's
do
try
that.
and keep it as spoiler free as
Yeah,
possible.
absolutely.
So, what? Bearing that in mind, what else can we? What else? What can we discuss about this game? What else did we like about it? What? How far can we go
Yeah,
without
yeah.
cutting into spoilers?
I'll tell you one revelation that sort of really kind of hit me and was like,
Mm,
whoa! It's when I'll say the prisoner who is painting turns around and you
yes,
see the person that he's been painting. I
yes,
think that moment for me was like, whoa!
I know. And the chapter ends right there as well,
Yes, it
doesn't it? It's
does.
like
Yeah,
classic cliffhanger.
yeah. I thought that was a brilliant cliffhanger. That was, and it raises so many questions as well at the time. Like I was saying earlier, you get a revelation, and you're like, well, what does that mean? And then you think, oh, it doesn't make any sense, and then you really want to carry on. Oh, I will say, because a lot of the time in games the plot isn't the thing that's driving me forward; it's the gameplay. But I think in this case, as good as the gameplay is, I wanted to know more about the plot than to jump into another sort of puzzle section. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, as good as the puzzle sections were, it was almost like, oh, I got to do a puzzle before I find out what happens
yeah.
next. And I sort of reading some bits about people's opinions. A lot of people said, oh, there's too much text and stuff. I don't think that at all about this
Oh
game.
no, not at all.
I think the story is so good and the characters are so well done that I was happy to just read in this game.
Yeah,
I mean, possibly not everyone's opinion. Depends on how you take sort of plots in the game. Some people don't like plots at all, just skip through it. But I mean, if you're that person, this game probably isn't for you anyway. But I mean, but anyone who enjoys a good sort of murder mystery or a good plot with lots of kind of twists and turns will love this game. I think.
I found it completely engrossing. I
Me
wouldn't have
too,
said
yeah.
there was, I mean, I've got a fairly sort of lengthy commute to and from work. It's usually sort of a couple of hours. Playing this flew by,
Oh yeah, I bet it did. Yeah.
I start playing it and I just get completely lost in it, and you just lose a couple of hours to it, no sweat, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
it's a cliche, but it's like a book you can't put down. Isn't it?
Yeah. It is. It's yeah. It really is. I mean, it could be a book. Really, it's quite a zany book, but I mean, it's a good story. It's a good writing, good characters. It's great.
Yeah. It's so difficult restraining yourself from spoilers, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we can say that is worth talking about that won't spoil.
I don't. I mean, we covered the puzzles because no, you've got to play it. You've got to play it.
Yeah. Is there anything you didn't like about the game or thought it could be done better?
Um, no, I don't think so. I mean, I suppose if I were to really sit down and be nitpicky, I could probably come up with something. But there isn't anything that sticks out
No, there's nothing
straight away.
No,
And I think if you have to nitpick to find a fault with something, then it's probably a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
There's not much to find fault with. Maybe some of the puzzles were a little bit obtuse at times.
Yeah.
Some of them.
I think that's sort of quite normal for this type of game, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a bit sort of they're a bit like point and click adventures in a way, aren't they? Sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a bit like kind of obscure what you end up having to do to solve the puzzle. But even then, at the end, you can't help but admire the brilliance of going from something so seemingly unrelated to getting an object to knock from all these different objects and roll down to something else. You think it would never happen, but you find a way of doing it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we likened it earlier to a Rube Goldberg machine,
Yeah.
but there is a literal Rube Goldberg machine that
There
is
yeah.
sort of pivotal to the entire plot. Thinking about it,
Yes.
how that all links together is quite ingenious, and yeah, it's. I think some of the puzzles as well, because we've mentioned the fact that the majority of the gameplay is based around manipulating objects, so opening and closing cupboards, rolling balls, all that kind of stuff. You do get that expanded where you can swap two objects that are the same shape between each other, and that puts a completely different sort of slant on some of the later puzzles.
It does, yeah.
I thought some of those puzzles were like I mentioned before. There's a particular puzzle involving steam which I found quite frustrating, and there's another puzzle involving a large stone egg.
Yes.
I suppose.
Yeah, I got stuck on that one for a bit. Yeah.
that was quite a head scratcher as well. But yeah, it's like I say, it's one of my favorite games of all time. When I played it, it really resonated with me. The ending, I got genuine goosebumps at the reveal.
Yeah.
It really touched me. The ending, I thought it was really nice.
It's a reveal. Again, I don't want to say too much about it, but it's a reveal that I would imagine most people are totally unexpected. And but it's also one that kind of makes sense in a weird way. And it's the kind of thing that they could only do. It had to be something really sort of out from left field and just completely unexpected. I don't want to say any more than that, but yeah, I'd be surprised if anyone gets it.
Yeah, I just didn't see it coming at all,
No,
and
no.
because the thing is, I'm the same as anyone in that I think a lot of times we'll watch a film or play a game,
Mm.
and we'll think, oh, we've seen this before, I know where this is going,
Yeah,
and it's really nice to really not see where it's going
yeah,
and to have a genuine surprise. I think that's quite a rare thing with storytelling these
it
days,
is.
and
It
to
is.
have it done in a way that makes narrative sense within that universe as well.
Yeah, all loose ends are tied up at the end. I think. I don't think there's anything. I
Yeah,
didn't really have any questions at the end. I thought everything. I mean, some things were connected a little bit, kind of loosely, but
yeah,
you go with it.
yeah.
For the sake of having the whole plot tie up. It's not a problem.
I love the fact that you do see at the end the fruits of your labor as well. You
You do,
see not
yeah,
just the immediate characters, but the ripple effect that it
yeah.
has on,
On all the
I mean,
character, every
it's
character in the
not a
game, I
spoiler
think.
to
Yeah,
say, when we're talking about, time travel and changing the past in order to change the future,
yeah,
is not a spoiler to say that it's going to have wider ramifications than just for the main characters. So
yeah,
it's really nice to see that how that did affect all the other sort of tertiary characters in the game.
yeah.
Um, and see how it, see what you did and the outcome it caused. I thought it was a really nice sort of way to bookend the game.
It was lovely. Yeah, really nice to see.
I don't think it's likely, but would you like to see a sequel if there was one on the
Oh,
books?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think I read that it only sold about 300,000 copies or something like that. Did you?
it sold a criminally low amount of
Yeah.
copies.
I mean, as a result, it's still. I mean, DS games aren't too badly priced these days, but this one I think goes for about 20 quid, 30 quid, which isn't bad.
Yeah,
But
I
I mean,
paid about 30 for mine, I think.
yeah. So, and given that there's not many out there, it's probably going to go up. I'd have thought at some
Yeah,
point when DS becomes a bit more collectible. Yeah, so that's a shame, really. It's just is a victim of timing, really. I think.
yeah,
Just right at the end of the DS's life cycle, but at least that got the sort of the benefit of all those years of experience of sort of DS games and seeing what worked and what didn't. And it's. I mean, I didn't actually play it on a DS. I emulated it, but I'd imagine it works very well with the system.
it does. It works tremendously well with
Yeah.
the touch screen.
Mm.
Really, yeah, it feels very very natural to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do think I'm going to have to check this, but I think Detective Cabanela had a cameo in one of the Marvel versus Capcom games as
Oh,
well.
really?
Yes,
Oh,
I
you
think he
couldn't
was
play
one
as
of,
him, could you? That'd be amazing.
I think he was one of the support characters. Where you can have a little support character jump in
Right.
and do something to help. I think he was one of the
Oh
support
man, I've
characters.
got to look that up later. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in there. So
Oh, he's
um,
amazing. I got like a sort of man crush on him, I think.
I was going to say, are you going to be the next Play Expo in London? You're going to be going cosplay.
Oh,
as,
absolutely, yeah. Oh, that's a great. It's a great cosplay, though, wouldn't it? That'd
That'd be
brilliant.
amazing. I don't think I've seen any. I'm going to have to Google this now as well. I mean, it's a dangerous thing to Google any cosplay, to be honest. There's some
Yeah.
very strange stuff out there sometimes. But I'm going to have to Google some, see if there is any Ghost Trick cosplay. I don't think I've ever seen any at conventions and stuff I've been to. So
Well, I mean, it'd be relatively easy to pull off because he's just wearing normal clothes. Well, not normal
yeah,
clothes, but he's wearing clothes that you can get. But he looks so cool. in
I'd like
that
to see
kind of
someone
getup, yeah.
try and tackle Sissel's hairstyle
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
though.
Abby commented that it looked like Jedward, his hairstyle,
Yeah.
which is not a good,
That's
good
not. That's
comparison there. But it's had a
shame.
point. It does look a bit like Jedward's hairstyle. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just having a look on it on the Wikipedia page for it. It reviewed really well.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised.
He did, yeah.
I'm really surprised that it didn't find an audience.
I know. I think
I
it's
looked
just
at
people were
this.
saving up for the 3DS maybe at the time.
Maybe
Yeah.
8.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Game Informer gave it a 6 out of 10. I don't know what they were. Not sure what they were thinking, but there we go. I mean, average Metacritic. I don't put too much weight in scores generally, but I think a lot of people do. And usually when you see a game getting 9s and 10s across the board and 8s and 9s across the board in this case, I'd expect it to have more, people picking it up just out of curiosity, if anything. But
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I think it's both clear that it gets a ringing recommendation from both of us.
Definitely.
Um,
You
and I'm
I was going to say you did some canvassing of opinions on Twitter about this game, didn't you?
I did indeed. Yes, I
Mm.
did. I was going to go into that. We've got. I basically tried to find people who were talking about Ghost Trick
Yeah,
on Twitter. It's really reassuring that people, it's not just us. There are people still talking about Ghost Trick in 2018,
that's incredible,
um,
really. Yeah,
and recently as well, which is
yeah.
really, really nice. So we've got. Let me just have a look. Race car at taking comms. I think that's obviously an artist. He's taking commissions.
Yeah, yeah.
Race car at Twitter says, Ghost Trick is one of my favorite games of all time. I love the mystery, the visuals, the characters, the music. It's such an underrated gem on a platform full of great games. It's a rare game that I could recommend to everyone, especially if you have pets.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, I see where he's coming from there.
Yep.
I think yeah, certainly with Missile,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, you're gonna get a lot out of that game if you're an animal lover, I think.
Mm.
KT at Kyubi Tamer. See, I said I was bad with Japanese names.
Oh yeah,
I'm
reading.
even worse with Twitter
I
handles.
think I think everyone, whenever you hear someone reading out a Twitter handle, it's always like 'cause people seem to pick
I
some
know,
really weird stuff as their Twitter handles, don't they?
I know. It's dreadful. I'm sorry, Katie. I'm just going to call you KT.
Yeah.
KT says, "What else could I possibly add besides how, despite it's 8 years old, I was so easily hooked in the storyline. The running joke on how people just can't stay alive and you need to save them before their demise. Yes, that does come
Mm.
up a lot with one character who dies multiple
Dies
times
multiple
throughout the course
times.
of the
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
the puzzles are amazing. You keep learning new tricks as you go, especially if you have pets. Best thing to add, agreed on everything. So yeah,
Mm.
again, another ringing endorsement there.
Yep.
Um, the soundtrack, this KT again. The soundtrack is amazing for each situation and character. The surprising reveals and plot twists along the way, things that really make you start piecing your own theories based on the evidence you find, only for something else to occur to blow it up.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you were
Yeah.
saying
Yeah. Yeah.
earlier as well in that.
Hmm.
Let me have a look and see what else we've
This is like a
got.
mailbag, isn't it? Like who's been
Yeah,
who's been emailing us this month?
this one, Albert Woods at Albert W16370111. Agreed. Ghost Trick is great. Yeah, it's somehow still only the third best visual novel on the DS, which just goes to show how many great games the DS had. This is the one I referenced earlier when
Yeah.
someone referred to it as a visual novel.
Mm.
So I did say, I did ask them back what they thought the other, why it was only the third best and what they thought the other ones were. They said second best is Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations. The trilogy is by the same director as Ghost Trick, and the best is 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors, more commonly known as 999, although the Nonary Games port is overall better and comes with its sequel. I've heard of 999. I've actually
Yeah.
got a copy of it. I heard it mentioned on a podcast years ago, and they were going on about it, and I picked it up and I never played it to my shame. So that might be one for us to look at in a future episode. And I think certainly Phoenix Wright. If
Yeah.
you enjoyed Ghost Trick, I think we should definitely cover Phoenix Wright in future because
Yeah.
I think you'll
Absolutely.
you'll get a lot of
Mhm.
that. Carla Deer, fake gamer girl at Carla_Deer says Ghost Trick is made by the same man who created Phoenix Wright, and it technically takes place in the same universe, if not the same country. I didn't
Does
know
it?
that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to need to find a source for that. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
They're
If
quite
true.
in the game. They're quite non-specific about the country it takes place in, and also
Yeah,
another country that
another
appears in the
country.
game as well, which sort of you can make your own conclusions about what those two countries are supposed to be. I think, but
Yeah,
yeah, they always reference it as this country, don't they? They don't say where they are.
they do.
Mm.
That'd be interesting, actually. I wonder if there is a kind of shared universe
Mm.
between them. I'm going to have to look into that.
Mm.
I think that's the comments we got back on this one.
Yeah, that's great.
So I would
Really good.
say, yeah, really, very much appreciated. Thank you,
Yeah.
Racecar, Katie, Albert Wood, and anyone who I might have missed there. But yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
your thoughts. I really hope you don't mind us reading them on the show for free
No,
pass.
thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. It's just great to hear back from people and get some dialogue going with people.
Yeah.
Right? It's great that people are so passionate about this game as well. As you say, all these years later, it's still something that people are talking about somewhere. So
I'm
great.
really pleased, and I really hope that the creators of the game, because it was obviously a labor of love. There's a lot of love that's gone into that game, and there's a lot of skill that's gone behind making it, and for it to not find an audience, it's a real shame. And I really hope that the fact that it is so loved and so adored by a cult fan base. I hope the developers, take some heart in that. Really, that this thing that they put out does mean a lot to maybe not as many people as other games, but to the people who do love it, it does mean a lot to them. I hope that that message does get back to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think audience and hosts alike, we are all in favour of Ghost Trick, and please go buy it straight away.
Yep, do.
Buy it now.
Excellent.
So, I guess that brings us to the end of our show. It would be your turn to pick a game this month. Have you got a game in mind?
I do have one in mind. We're going from one Capcom game to another Capcom game.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be our first fighting game. This is
really?
Yeah, this is going to be Power Stone on the Sega Dreamcast.
Oh, nice.
Do you have this game?
I do. I have Power Stone 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. I was going to say we could do either 1 or 2 because they're kind of similar, I guess. So, I mean, are you happy to do 1 or do you...
Yeah, should we do 1?
We'll do 1, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do 1.
I wanted to pick something a bit less demanding time-wise this month, so I could get a chance to play something else as well.
Yeah.
But well, I mean, not to do any disservice to the game, I'm sure, but something a bit more arcadey that you can sort of, you don't have to put loads of hours in before you get enough to talk about it. So yeah, that was my logic for picking this, and it's a game that I've played in bits sort of recently, but it's something that I've always wanted to get round to having a good go at, and sort of hopefully adding it to my list of games that I sort of, my go-to games, for when I'm a bit bored and just want to play something. Yeah,
definitely. So, it gives me a good opportunity to dust off the old Dreamcast arcade stick as well.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, that'd be good fun. I haven't played that game for years.
Okay,
so
perfect.
I'm going to struggle with that one. Takes me a while to sort of get into the flow of fighting games.
Me too. Yeah, I'm not the best at fighting games, I have to say.
No,
but
I used to be reasonable at Street Fighter 4, just because I went through a period where I played almost nothing but Street Fighter 4 for for quite a while. I just got really addicted to it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Then I stopped playing it for a bit, and I lost it. I just completely I pick it up now. I'm useless.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's a really good choice. Again, an unexpected one. I didn't see that one coming at all. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I suppose there's a lot of games I could have chosen. So yeah, I wouldn't expect you to expect it.
Hasn't there been rumours of it getting a re-release? When there rumours about it coming, I don't want to start a rumour here, so I'm not. No, I don't take this might have just been a fever dream, but maybe I'm sure I remember rumours of it coming to Switch.
That would be lovely. I don't know. It might just be something that I know. I follow someone on Twitter who is sort of constantly prodding Capcom to make a third version. So maybe, I don't know, something like that got mixed up as fact or rumor. I don't know.
Yeah,
it would be nice. It would be lovely. It would be great on Switch.
Yeah, I've just done a quick little search, but yeah, nothing comes up, so I must have imagined it. But yeah, there was a port on the PSP, wasn't there?
I do. Yes, I have that. I have that. Yeah, it's 1 and 2. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Well, that's an excellent choice.
Yeah. Looking forward to playing that.
Cool. Okay. Well, I think that'll do us for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. By all means, stay in touch with us. We love hearing about your thoughts on the games we play and any suggestions of games you think we should play. hit us up on Twitter at Podemup. You can email us, podemup@gmail.com.
Yeah. Did you set up what's it called? A Reddit?
I set up a subreddit, yeah, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't really know if we've got any ideas of what we can use.
I don't use Reddit, so I have no idea.
I use Reddit occasionally, but I don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I was like, well, yeah, let's get a subreddit going. And then I did it, and it's like, I don't really know what I'm doing with this. I don't really know how to sort of customize it and configure it. And
can people go to it now? Is it open or is it?
No.
Okay, we'll just leave that one.
No, we'll leave that one for now. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll have a faff about with it, and we'll try and get something up and running with it, and we'll tweet it out. And if we get it into a usable state, then we'll mention it on the next show. But keep an eye out on the. I think Twitter and the email is the best hub of contact for us at the moment.
They're the ones that we use. I mean, we could go to Facebook and Instagram, but I don't like any of that stuff.
I don't even have a Facebook and Instagram. I don't really get.
I don't understand Instagram.
I'm too old. I'm too old for this.
Me too. Yeah.
Twitter's about as much as my old man brain can manage.
Yeah, because on Twitter you can just sort of ramble about whatever you're thinking about, and it's great.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
That's basically all. Yeah, that's it. I'm 30. Yeah, I'm in my 30s, and it's Facebook stuff. No, I don't get it. Instagram and Snapchat.
Oh, yeah. What's that about? You take a picture and someone sees it for 10 seconds and then it goes.
It goes.
I don't. That's mainly for kids who want to show off their genitals to each other. That's my understanding of it, isn't it?
I understand that that is a demographic of the service.
Yes. Genital kids. Yeah. On that note.
Right. Enough. Let's go. All right then. So, usual places. Please do get in touch. Like I say, we love hearing from you. It's been really great to hear people's thoughts on Ghost Trick. So, if you've got any thoughts on Power Stone, or you've got any other games that you think we should play, please get in touch, and we will see you. Next show is usually about. We don't have a set schedule, but it's usually about a month from now. So
early in the month, usually expect to see us pop up.
Yeah. We'll see you then.
All right. Bye, guys.
We love you. Goodbye.
Not as much as I love Cabanela. Bye.